Donald Trump's pardon of nearly all 1,500 January 6 defendants are, according to reports, a last-minute decision to end the issue and just move past it. But will that happen? We are pleased right now to discuss this, joined by a journalist who covered the January 6 story more extensively than anyone else in our nation from Real Clear Investigations, Julie Kelly. She's also the author of a book which details a lot of the cases here. January 6, how Democrats use the Capitol protests to launch a war on terror against the political right. Julie, you are the authority on this, and it's great to have you with us today. So thank you.
Thanks, Bianca. Thanks for having me on.
First off, talk about your reaction. When did you hear that there would be the pardon and the commutation? Because you've followed this and you know how long these people have waited for the justice here.
So, I mean, just like everyone else did, I figured that this was coming and was waiting all day for it, and very pleased to see what the president did. I really want to emphasize what a courageous and compassionate move this was by President Trump. This is not an easy decision to make. He was getting political pressure, and we're still seeing this from Republican senators. I know you just spoke with Representative Stubbe, who gave a good answer there, but Republican senators, not so much. They are denouncing his pardon of so-called violent offenders. So this was a tough call, but the right call to make, and I really want to commend the president for doing it.
Now let's get into some of the stories, because I know some of the people have lost everything, and they were not violent. They were denied due process. Some have just been thrown into prison, locked up. We heard stories of grandmothers. We saw the Supreme Court say they were overcharged. Can you highlight one or two or three potentially just angles of this that maybe the American public just had not heard before?
I mean, there are so many, Bianca, but people who walked inside the Capitol for a few minutes, who were accidentally kind of shoved in there by other people because there was such a huge mob of people there, of protesters there, nonetheless having their lives destroyed, being brought up on bogus charges, as you just said, obstruction of an official proceeding, unlawfully charged with that, charged with federal misdemeanors that have never been brought against political protesters this way, but they have lost everything. I mean, bankrupted over minor charges, marriages breaking up, children turning on their parents, businesses destroyed. They've been turned on by their own parents, by their own clergy, because the Biden regime declared them as domestic terrorists and insurrectionists, and that's how they were treated.
And it gave the left this narrative with the J6 committee, where we know now there's pardons because most likely there was allegations of witness tampering. We now know that there were federal informants from the FBI on the ground that day. They gave the left sort of a way, and the DOJ in tandem, truly, to use this to really smear Donald Trump supporters and him. And it started back on 2021. So they had a long runway here. And I think that's important to highlight, too, because it could have gone either way in this election. They really thought that they would have some type of win with J6, always banging that drum.
Correct. They really thought that this would be a winning issue. And because this was a grassroots issue with the base, they knew what was happening here in this prosecution. They were horrified by it. And this was, I think, part of the reason why the president won. And so now the tables have to turn. Now the pardons are a good first step. Those who did this to these American citizens, the prosecutors, D.C. U.S. Attorney Matthew Graves, the judges, all have to be held accountable for denying the rights of American citizens, turning them into felons for engaging in a normal political protest. So this can only be the first step here.
I want to be really clear, too. Yesterday, we had Brandon Strzok on, and he said he was forced, really, to plead to things he didn't do so they could upgrade a misdemeanor to a felony. He said he just basically was standing outside for 8 minutes filming videotape, but he had to plead because he knew he would not get a fair jury, and he couldn't go through, really, the legal issue. And then they put him under a plea deal that he couldn't speak. With the pardon, he can speak. I think there's going to be a lot of stories of people speaking, and we're going to start to get some real clarity.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to see these J6ers and media outlets like yours picking these up and letting these J6 defendants finally speak out about the torment that they have been subjected to by the Biden DOJ, Chris Wray's FBI, and these judges in Washington, D.C. The American people should brace themselves because they are going to be horrified at what they hear.